Hello everyone and welcome to the Facerollin review of Luckslinger. Luckslinger.
Yay.
Let's do it. So, Luckslinger is a game we saw at E3.
So what is Luckslinger for those who haven't played it before?
Luckslinger is a 2D pixelated platformer with hip hop and Wild West elements.
Oh yeah.
And an amazing soundtrack and really, really good sound design. In general.
It really does.
Yeah.
Can I just say, because I played probably the least amount of this game out of everyone here, this game's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yes.
tough.
Yes.
It's very tough.
But it's also like it's also pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's very good. It and very hard. Basically, the way the story goes is you're like a cowboy. You're wandering around and you find this dying man, and he gives you his charm, which lets you control luck in a way. So enemies drop money, health, and they also drop like little things of luck, which you can pick up, and the more you have, the better things will go. There's various objects, such as rocks or like water towers, windmills, that can sometimes fall on you if you walk past them and you have low luck. As well as like when enemies shoot you, sometimes if you have high luck, the bullet will just like fly in a completely wrong direction. Even if you run towards the bullet, it'll avoid you.
It'll also save you from falling to your death sometimes too.
Yeah, a platform will appear right beneath you if you're about to fall to your death if you have
Isn't
high
it
luck.
like a cute little like seal platform and stuff, like living?
It
I think
actually,
it's like a mole.
it actually changes depending on the stage.
I
Okay,
see.
cool.
Each stage has a different like type of saving device. My favorite being the last stage where a bird like flies by and like swoops you away from death.
Nice.
Yeah, it like kind of bounces you into the air, and it actually becomes essential to solving the puzzle to getting the little gold bars that are hidden throughout the stages too.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was playing this game, right, you have like a gun and you also have a knife, right?
Yep.
And you're supposed to like flip in order to dodge the bullets that are coming at you. And so my question is, and you also have like this duck that's following you.
Yep.
So I guess what's the purpose of the knife and what's the purpose of the duck?
So the function of the knife is to give you a way to defend yourself when you need to dodge bullets.
Yeah, when you're out of ammo or you're like jumping, you can throw the knife.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
the way that this game works is like you need to actually stand on the ground to reload. And during the later stages, there are some sections where like there's so much stuff flying at you all the time, you just need to constantly be jumping and rolling so you don't have time to reload. And when you throw the knife, the duck will actually go pick it up and bring it back to you. Sometimes he misses. He misses a lot for me, but he gets closer to you, and then you can pick it back up and throw it again. And so it gives you a way to kind of fight back, even when you are out of ammo.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
And one of the things I started doing is I started throwing the knife and then shooting to like kind of get some extra damage in there, and then unload my full round.
Oh, nice.
So there's a lot of different ways that you can use the knife. One of the other things you can do with the knife is like your gun will never shoot down. Like if you fire really fast, the bullets will climb a little bit. But if there's an enemy below you, it's hard. You can't aim down. So what I would do is I would throw the knife really lightly because it goes a different distance based on how long you hold it. And so if you throw it really lightly, sometimes you can hit an enemy with it and have it arc down. So there's a lot of different ways you can use it.
That was my frustration. I had a really hard time shooting enemies who were really short, like the animals and stuff.
Yeah.
Because the bullets would arc up.
Yeah. Yeah. The knife's handy for getting rid of like the rattlesnakes and the armadillos and stuff.
Is there any purpose to having the bullets arc up other than to just royally fuck you over?
No. The bullets arcing up is actually like a really important mechanic in the game because, like, for one, I think in some ways, like the bullets arcing up force you to kind of like take your time right? Like if you fire, you could fire like 2 shots, stop, 2 shots, stop, and that'll keep the bullets from just like arcing up every single time. But one of the other things that you can do is like in later stages there'll be like bats or birds flying around, and so you can jump and then fire all your shots really fast, and the last couple might actually like hit some of those things flying in the air.
Oh, I see.
So there's actually a lot of like really unique ways that they used the bullet climb mechanic, not just to punish you for firing too fast, but also to give you ways to hit things that are out of range normally.
So, without giving up too much spoilers, can you talk about the story a little bit for the game?
Yeah, it's kind of in a way like Mega Man, but not really.
Except that, yeah, I can see where you're going with that, because there's like 6 evil dudes that you're trying to take down.
Yeah, so you're trying to find the rest of the luck charms, because the town used to have them or something, and since they lost those luck charms, the town has gone to complete crap. So they need those luck charms so they could survive, basically, as a town. So yeah, the sheriff is a complete drunk who like hands you wanted notes, telling you, "Hey, go get this guy." And then you go get the guy, and then you bring him back either dead or alive. If you bring him alive, you bring him to the sheriff. If you bring him dead, you bring him to the gravedigger.
You can also bring them back alive and then bury them.
Really?
Yep, I did that a couple times.
You know what it
Holy
didn't let you do at the E3 demo was bring him back dead and give him to the sheriff.
Yeah, that didn't work. I remember that.
When he saw me bring him back, he was like, "Yeah, put him in the cell."
Yeah,
but it wouldn't let me. But it was not a complete game at the time.
Yeah. You can totally do the opposite. You can bring them back alive and then bring them to the gravedigger, and he'll just bury them alive.
It's so fucked up.
It's pretty dark.
And yeah, like you get to see like the how many graves you've dug, or like how many people are in the jail, and then you can collect these like gold bars throughout the levels, which when you go to your room at the inn, your bed is just covered in the gold bars you collected.
Nice.
I ended the game with 32 out of 33 gold bars.
Nice.
I missed one somewhere, and it drove me. I could not figure out how to get it. It drove me crazy. I eventually just decided to beat the game and not get it, because it had already taken me so long to get near the end that I couldn't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like those gold bars are where like the real, like even after you get a good feel for the mechanics, those gold bars are still really tricky to get sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys talk a little bit about, I know they had a lot of hip-hop elements and like a lot of elements involving vinyls, like saving to vinyl records. Can you guys talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, like in the loading screen whenever whenever there's a loading screen, it shows like your character spray painting something on the side of a building. And like the save points are like record players. I
enjoy the kid in the inn who always references like rap stars whenever you talk to him. Like he's usually sleeping, but if you go and talk to him, he'll say like, something like, "I love the Wu-Tang Clan," or "I love J.R. Murillo," or something like that, while he's sleeping. And so like they make their influences very obvious. But one of the other things I really liked is like, so every single stage has a unique like soundtrack, a unique song. And one of the things that's really cool is there are usually elements in the stage that are bouncing with the song. Like one of my favorite examples is the third stage is a train stage. And in the background of the train stage, there's like a sun that's setting, and there's like mesas, and the mesas are like bouncing the rocks on top as the song plays, and the sun is kind of like booming a little bit. Like it's kind of getting bigger and smaller with the beat. And so I thought it was really cool the way that the stages actually feel alive, like they're part of the song.
So I actually didn't like get that far into the game. Later on, are there like any mechanics that are like more hip-hoppy as opposed to shoot, duck, roll?
Not really. There's a bonus stage that involves skateboarding.
Yep, they told us about that.
Yeah, you can actually totally miss it. I didn't find it on my first playthrough.
Huh.
You have to. I mean, It's not really spoilery because I think this game is pretty minimalist, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of story to like get sucked into here. The story is done well. Like, I think it works well for what it is, but I wouldn't
Mhm.
say that it's like super deep. Um, and
So,
so there's a point in the game where the kid is able to like move around again, who's usually sleeping in his bed, and you have
Mhm.
to talk to him, and then he will let you do the skateboarding minigame.
Nice.
And I just didn't even do that. Like, I went through the town, didn't even talk to him, and totally missed it. Um,
Oh, there's also the duels,
yes, yeah.
which are also, you know, they tie into the music.
Yes, those are a nightmare. So like each time you come back to town after successfully getting a bounty, there'll be someone waiting for you near the front of the town who will challenge you to a duel. And the way the duel works is there is a song that plays, and when it stops, you have to hit the X button as fast as you can. Basically, anyone who's played the little mini game in like Kirby Adventure, that's exactly the same thing,
Yeah.
has experienced it before. But the last couple ones of those were probably where I got stuck the most on Luckslinger. I was determined to beat all of them, and I did. But a couple of them took me probably at least 40 tries
Jesus.
to
Jesus.
try and beat. Like, they were really, really hard.
So,
Um,
so I guess for you guys, do you think that they're trying to like convey anything by meshing like the Western and hip hop and platformer feels, or do you think it's kind of like a gimmick, or is this something kind of like Samurai Champloo, where they wanted to kind of do a hybrid of aesthetics
So
and genres?
so we talked to them at E3, and the reason they wanted to do those two things is because they just like those two things.
Oh, okay.
So in a way, it is kind of like Samurai Champloo, I think.
yeah.
Like, especially like the loading screens remind me of the transitions in
Oh
Samurai
yeah.
Champloo
Like the
so
loading
much.
screens even have that same little like record scratching sound effect in Samurai Champloo, the like
Mhm.
chicka chicka go. Um, Yeah, no, I really, really like this game, and it shows its teeth like crazy as it gets further along.
Mhm.
There's an entire stage that is a little bit more vertical than like most of the stages are usually just moving from left to right. But there's a stage that takes place in a casino where you need to be jumping up constantly, and that was a stage that gave me a lot of trouble.
Is it a Native American casino?
It is not a Native American casino.
Huh. Because
Um,
because throughout most of the levels that I've seen so far, there's like a little like teepee with a Native American in it, um, and he lets you like gamble your money away
yes,
to
he does, but no, he
to
does
get
not have
things
a
like
casino.
shotguns or dynamites.
Yeah, he can be your best friend or your worst enemy sometimes. Because like
I,
if
for me,
if you
he's
have a lot
usually
of
my
luck,
best friend.
if you have a lot of luck, he'll like shower you with stuff, and if you don't, then he'll just take your money and tell you to fuck off.
Like that time at E3.
Yes, like that time. Um, so one of the things like one of the crazy things to me about this game is I had two major issues with it that I
Uh-huh.
was planning on talking about. The
Yeah.
first one was when you die, all of your luck disappears, and then you it's like a momentum killer. Like, luck is essential to getting through some of the later parts of the stage, and without it, you're basically dead in the water. So even though I was on like the third checkpoint, the section I was doing was now suddenly way harder than it was before, and I couldn't beat it. The other issue that I had was once you died or ran out of lives, you would have to start the whole stage over like it was an old NES game.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and that was a pain in the ass too. And then within a week of me having those complaints, they actually fixed both of them.
Really?
So the first one, when you die now, you don't lose all of your luck, you lose half of it. So you still have a little bit of it at the checkpoint. You still get punished for dying, and you lose some of the luck that you've accrued, but you don't lose all of it. So that was a neat change. And then they also added the option to play the game on what they called New School, which, by the way, that's a genius like naming thing to go with Old School and New School for their difficulties.
Mhm.
But basically, if you want to play it the way it was when it came out, you put it on Old School, and when you run out of lives, you start over from the beginning. But if you put it on New School now, the lives basically don't matter, and you can continue from that checkpoint over and over.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So I ended up putting it on New School because I could not beat the game on Old School. I just couldn't do it. I got stuck on the second stage for a long time, and then I think it was the fourth stage. Like I stuck to my guns. Like they released old school, and I was like no, or new school, and I was like no, I'm gonna beat it. I'm gonna do it the old way. And on the fourth stage, I just gave up on that and said, forget it. I want to beat the game, and I put it on new school.
So do you think that since this is kind of like a smaller game, that the developers are more responsive, or do you think that this is kind of like a game in development, or?
Oh no, it is definitely not in development. This game is done.
Yeah, it's finished.
I think that they just listened to criticism when it came out. They thought about it, and they came up with ways to fix it that didn't jeopardize their vision of the game.
Yep.
I think that they just responded quickly, and they had solid plans of action on how to solve the issues that people were complaining about.
Wait, Trevor, did you beat the game?
Yeah, I beat it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was hard. It was really hard. It is probably one of the hardest games I've played since the first Devil May Cry 3 came out. Not the special edition one, but the original release of that game. It was really tough. And this game is probably one of the hardest things that I've played in a while. The final boss alone took me probably about 3 hours straight of just playing him over and over again and trying to learn his pattern and figure him out. It was a crazy long experience of just trying to piecemeal my way through different parts of the fight and just being okay, once I've gotten down to here, now he changes to this, and it was crazy. But I really enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed Luckslinger. There are some parts that I think are very rough around the edges. There are certain areas where the small development team kind of shows, but I don't think it matters because there's so much style and soul to the game.
Yep. Yeah, the game is so good, and you can't play it without headphones.
Yeah,
the sounds are just so good in it.
Yeah, this is a game I would definitely recommend. At the very least, just making sure you have your music on, because it's an essential part, I think, of the experience. Even just the gunshots really just have this really loud pop to them. They feel strong. Even though the projectiles are traveling slow, they feel powerful because that explosion sound really sells it.
Yeah.
After playing this game, I played it for about 30-40 minutes, and I don't think I would play this game again. Granted, I really like this game. I like what it's going after. I like the way that they do it. It's just, I think that this game appeals to a very specific audience.
Okay.
And I think this game appeals to mostly old school gamers, gamers who came from the Famicom era. And
I would agree with that. I can see where you're going.
I wouldn't say that's such a specific audience, because there's just so many games like that these days.
I think you're right. I think there are a lot of platformers that are kind of capturing that essence that was there originally in the original Famicom. But I don't know. I agree with you. It's not a small demographic, but I don't think that that's the largest demographic in gaming anymore. I think that there's kind of this new generation of gaming that's coming around that, the old school isn't really the primary market anymore. Yeah. And
it is weird for me to have conversations with people who'd never experienced the what I would call the Bit Wars era of consoles, the Genesis and the SNES and the NES, when all that was happening. I've met many people, I'm meeting more and more people who just have no recollection of that because they weren't alive for it.
Exactly.
It makes me feel old. But I would agree that this game definitely appeals to old school gamers. I don't know if that was necessarily their target demographic. It might have been. But I can definitely see it appealing to people who enjoyed that era of game, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And definitely, I think people who are into, the same type of masochism of Binding of Isaac would also enjoy this game. Because there's a lot of, over and over again in this game.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's, very Binding of Isaac-ish.
No.
I don't think so either, but, the failure is kind of the loop.
If anything, it's more like Super Meat Boy than Binding of Isaac.
Maybe. Actually, your Mega Man comparison was very apt. Because it kind of has the same, in addition to having the same structure as Mega Man, I just realized right before you get to a boss, the music changes, and then there's usually some kind of gateway event Like in Goldberg, for example, when you get to the boss, like the music changes to that really ominous like doo doo, and then you go slowly down an elevator, kind of like going through the boss doors, and then the boss appears and you have your fight.
Mm.
And
Yeah, and like you know, you kind of spend time memorizing the stages and like
yeah,
where to shoot and how. So yeah, in a way, it's like very much like Mega Man.
and even the life bars, like when the boss fight starts, a life bar slowly fills up across the bottom of the screen.
Yep.
Like yeah, the Mega Man comparison's very apt. I can see a lot of that in Luckslinger.
Yeah.
After, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, the only other thing I was going to say is like if there was one mechanic that I feel could have used a little tightening, it's the roll. Because I like the roll. I like being able to dodge bullets, and in fact, in the later stages, learning when to jump over an obstacle and learning when to roll through it is like essential. But the one thing I don't like about the roll is the way that it uses your momentum at the speed that you are traveling before you hit the button. And it makes it hard to kind of predict where your roll is going to end because the speed is variable. And so that part of the game felt a little bit, it felt rough around the edges to the point where it made certain sections harder than I felt it needed to be. Because you'd hit that roll button and you'd come up just a second too early, and suddenly I'm hit. And I just feel like there wasn't great feedback on knowing how far my roll was going to be.
Yeah, I feel you. Like, I really wish that the roll could have been more similar to how Nidhogg handles their dodges, you know?
Maybe. Yeah, I could see that. But, like,
Yeah.
that's maybe the one thing that still sort of rubs me the wrong way at certain points in Luckslinger. Is, like, it's the only time in the game where every now and then when I roll and get hit, I feel like I shouldn't have been hit. And I would say like 95% of the time in Luckslinger, when I die, I know it's my fault. But that 5% stings really bad.
I am in love with this genre. I feel like they kind of created this new genre, and I just want to see a bunch of animes in this genre.
I mean, it's a good pairing. I could see it happening.
Yeah.
I just want, you know, Samuel L. Jackson as the protagonist. That'd be so good.
In a way, Django had some of that.
Oh, that's true.
That's true, yeah. So yeah, Duckbridge,
okay.
working on the Django tie-in game.
Yeah. Make a 2D platformer Django. Oh man, I would play that.
I just really want Steve Buscemi to star as the duck.
Oh god.
Okay. So, back to the box quotes, you guys.
Yep.
I
got duck, I got luck, and I got fucked.
I don't think I could follow that one up.
African American Clint Eastwood starring in A Fistful of Luck.
That's pretty good.
I wish I was better at platformers.
Okay. Overall, good game. Like it a lot.
Yes. I'm
there's only 31 reviews for it, so you guys should really put in a review so that this game can get some.
This game is not getting a lot of coverage, and I feel like it really should be.
Yeah.
This game, it feels like something special to me, and I'm surprised that more people aren't checking it out.
Definitely.
We should submit it for Let's Plays.
Well, so I know Giant Bomb did cover it. They did a quick look of it. Like, it's not. I don't know if it's getting a lot of coverage in a lot of press outlets, but there are a few that have done like Let's Plays of it and videos of it. And it'd be nice to see it catch on a little bit more because I feel like it is something very unique.
Yeah, like if you look up Luckslinger on YouTube, like if you type in like Luck and then S, it'll fill it into Luckslinger OST.
Aww.
So I guess people think the strongest part of that game is the soundtrack.
That's too bad. I think there's something awesome there.
Yeah. Okay, great game. Go buy it.
Yep.
Like us on SoundCloud and Facebook.
Don't forget Pinterest.
/Facerollin. We
We
don't have
really
a Pinterest,
should.
but you should like us on Pinterest.
We should put together a Pinterest. Oh my god, I just switched to the picture of the quiet sculpture.
Oh my god. And goodbye.